I want to tell you the story of how I wrote my very first country song. I have a friend who is blind from birth, and I've known her for about 15 years. She was my student in high school, and I had her for 2 years running because I was charged with the great responsibility and deep honor of preparing her for the writing portion of the Georgia graduation test. I got to know her really well because we spent a lot of time together, and she wrote an essay for me almost every week. And she did a good job on that writing test, passed with flying colors. But I never knew this really special thing about her until graduation time came. She was graduating and I was retiring. And I don't remember what the festivity was. We were all crammed into the gym. It wasn't graduation, but we have a big gym, and it was packed full. And she stood up all by herself and sang the most beautiful gospel song. And when I asked her about it later, congratulating her, she said, "Oh, I've been doing that since I was 3 years old." She's the master kind of deadpan. But I looked at her and I knew she was just going to have a wonderful life. So she graduated, I retired, and I went on to kind of being selfish for a while, just doing whatever I wanted, retiree things. And then one day, a friend of mine called me and she said, "Did you know your good friend has been in a bad car wreck?" And I said, "No, I really didn't know that. Can you give me her phone number?" She gave me her phone number, and I phoned her up right away. And because she's blind, I let the phone just keep ringing and ringing. And I was thinking, well, she's probably having a hard time getting to the phone. I didn't realize she had one of those talking phones. And as she was walking toward the phone, she kept hearing it say, "Lucy's calling, Lucy's calling." And by the time she got to the phone, I don't know how she did this, but she said, "Lucy, what?" It kind of took me back. But I said, "Wow, I heard you've been in a bad wreck. Is there anything I can do?" She was kind of breathless, and she said, again, very deadpan, "Well, right now what you can do is hang up and call me back in 5 minutes when I'm all dry." That was the beginning of a good friendship, because I called her back and we went out to lunch that week, and she started introducing me to all of the places in North Georgia that make really great French fries, because that's all she eats. But over the years, what we've done is we've learned to share the ups and downs and the ins and outs, the highs and the lows, the happy and the sad, and always the giggle. So I remember this one day, we were talking about our families and about our family's bad habits, which is a bad habit in itself, right? But I could not resist telling her about my pop. Now, I love my grandfather. He is a good Christian man, and he was a college professor too. But he was born in the 1800s, so he really felt like it was his right to drink liquor. And so when Prohibition came, this is what Granny tells, he got to know a bunch of the local moonshiners, and he developed a taste for white lightning that lasted all of his life. And I don't remember all about that, but I do remember when I was a little child, my brother and I, whenever we would see Pop coming out of the kitchen with his little jelly jar like this full of clear liquid, and I guess we thought it was water, I don't know. But we knew it was something about that jar. When we saw that jar, we'd get really anticipatory, you know what I mean? We'd get close to Pop, because we knew after a couple of sips what he was going to do. He's going to reach up and loosen up his dentures, and then he would go, "Mr. Bear Trap's gonna get you." And we would scream at the top of our lungs and run, and he would chase us, and it was great fun. Now, my friend listened to that story and laughed and enjoyed it, but then, master of deadpan as she is, at the end of our thoughts about my story, she said, "Lucy, gotta tell you, my family's really more the Mad Dog 2020 type. And we just fell out on the floor and had a good old time laughing at everything for the rest of the afternoon. Then on the way home, driving along, this is how my mind works. I started thinking to myself, now what in the world rhymes with Mad Dog 2020? It's amazing. There are a lot of things that rhyme with Mad Dog 2020, but I found a really good line right away, and this little tune started to happen. I started singing it, and as I was singing it, I thought about all the things that we had talked about that afternoon, and it kind of formed up this whole song, so that by the time I got home, which was about 15 minutes later, I had this whole song. And I don't know if you've ever been a songwriter, but when that happens, it's kind of exciting. So I ran in the house and I called up my friend, and she answered the phone. "Lucy, what did you forget?" And I just laughed and said, no, let me sing you this song. And I sang her the song, and I've sung her a bunch of my songs, and she's always been real honest about them, so I trusted her, and I believed it when she said she thought that song was really, really cool, but that we couldn't sing it around here. And I said, well, why can't we sing it around here? She said, we can't sing that first line about Mad Dog 2020. And I said, well, I'm not going to sing it. I thought you could sing it. And then we fell out on the floor and just died laughing again. But we've played this song many times together since then, and it's kind of a happy song. Country song. Life is good in the country. I got a taste for loud trucks and Mad Dog 2020. I like my taters fried and my biscuits dipped in honey, and sitting on the tailgate beside a silver stream, glory shining in my eyes like a sweet country dream. Life is good in the country, just sitting back in the sun. Think I'll cast for the sweet spot and let old glory run. I never wanted much, just a little time and space, pretty song in my mouth, crooked smile upon my face. Got my family and my friends and the good Lord up above, and everywhere I look I see the country I love. Life is good in the country, just sitting back in the sun. Think I'll cast for the sweet spot and let old glory run. Gonna eat a little biscuit, gonna drink a little dew, gonna sit back on the tailgate and watch the sky turn blue. Like to sit back on the tailgate and watch the sky turn blue. 'Cause life is good in the country.